Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host.
Grandma Gail.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, it really is a happy Thanksgiving this year.
I thought you were going to say gobble gobble for sure. If anyone can hear that, that is a grandma.
That's our doorbell. It's like a wedding chime.
It's a wedding chime, and I think you did it on purpose to rub it in my face.
I don't think so. I think they changed it, all the bells in our building this summer.
It is so strange.
It's very strange. But anyway, it's a happy bell.
Yeah. Thanksgiving this year. Well, we've been in Palm Beach the last week around
in a rainstorm. It's been.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the sun. Today is the first day that really is a nice day, so it's going to be a lovely holiday.
That said, we got a lot of work done because it was just raining.
Certainly did. We certainly did. Kimberly had me going from morning till night. Mm-hmm. We did several different things. We were on QVC live streaming, and we were, doing all kinds of other things. We've had a very busy few days, so the rain helped us get our work done.
What else have we done? We went to go to see a rabbi speak about his book,
which was wonderful. To build a brave space, which is we did that on Sunday evening, and it was very, very interesting because he's from New Jersey, and he's trying to moderate in his congregation safe spaces for people to be able to talk and speak their minds on both sides of the aisle. And I think that's really, for Thanksgiving especially, it's certainly a good message.
I also went to Jupiter one night with friends to a bar up north.
Yeah, well, that was fun. And it's all young people.
All young people, a little different than Palm Beach. But Palm Beach has felt really young, too. Since, being here, I feel like it's a bunch of people around my age.
Yeah, right. But it's not the activity like in New York. So, I mean, this is the second city that sort of is trying to get younger, but hasn't quite gotten there yet. I still think you need to be in Miami or somewhere up north for really a real youth vibe. Mm-hmm. But it's trying, and there are new restaurants and places to go, but it's still a pretty staid kind of complexion. Down here.
Well, we can also talk about the popular TikToks that we had this past week.
Well, we did a very funny TikTok in New York, which was hysterical.
You mean the one at the diner?
At the diner. This is all done in fun. And Kimmy does always hesitate when she has to place an order. I don't know if any of you feel
I'm very
do the
indecisive.
Same way. About food.
Yeah.
About food. About guys, she's decisive, but whether she should have a salad.
I don't think that's true.
Or an avocado on toast, that becomes a major issue. So we put a funny one on, and I said, it's not going to do well. It's not going to do well. And of course, it's gone almost 2.5 million hits on it. So I guess I'm not a great judge of what's going to go viral.
Well, that's why you just be you and.
So we've had some fun with that, and we've done a lot of little things that you can see us on Instagram, and that we did for QVC. So that was fun too.
We also did a little Upper East Side tour before we came down to Florida of Grandma's favorite spots, and people really liked that.
Well, the spots are my favorite. So there's some wonderful little small stores if you go into any neighborhood, Kim, especially in Manhattan, where no matter where you are, like you're in Chelsea, you can do it in Nomad, you can do it in Soho. If you just walk around the little blocks where you live, there are little whether it be clothing stores or little markets that just are very individual and are perfect for that location. So that's what makes, especially if you live in New York, a very, very vibrant place. But any big city, Chicago's the same, San Francisco's the same. When you get to a place like where we are down in Florida, it's a much smaller community.
Yeah, it was my first experience of living for more than a week in a small town. Yeah, because New York City is all that I've lived in.
Right,
and it's very. I get the appeal for sure. We also did a TikTok about testing Grandma on modern terms once again.
I don't think I did too well on that test.
Do you remember? Let's go through a few of them for people who have not watched our TikToks and just listened to the podcast and see if you even remember. Do you remember what FAM was?
Well, FAM, I do remember. That was family. That was a family abbreviation. That one was all right.
What about Salty?
Salty was sort of off color and a little bit in your face type of
Salty's like
answer.
annoyed.
Oh, annoyed?
You're
All right.
salty that something didn't go your way.
Well, that sounds like you, Kim. You're very salty.
I can be salty about certain things. What about facts?
But that I don't still remember. What is that? Facts?
Facts is just like when something like resonates with you, you're like, yeah, facts.
Oh, you know what? A lot of these terms are so ridiculous. I don't know who uses them, but I guess maybe all the millennials do. I don't think any of my contemporaries even know what we're talking about.
Well, why aren't they sticking with you?
They're not sticking with me because I really don't care about them. I'm never going to, after you ask me the question, I'm never putting them into action anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay, well, some things might be important to stay au courant. No.
Unless you're talking about how you make a brisket. I'm not interested in those other facts. We
right,
have to do a
whatever.
brisket recipe
I know.
soon.
People also wanted, because we posted on our Instagram for people to write in questions about like Thanksgiving that they have for us and, you know, stuff around the holidays. And people asked what your favorite, what my favorite thing that you make was. And I was saying the sweet potatoes with marshmallow.
Right.
And everyone now wants to see us make that too.
I think maybe we'll do that after Thanksgiving.
Deal.
I got to go to the market and get all the ingredients. That could take at least a day.
Yeah. Well, we can document that too, going to the market.
I know everybody else does Instacart, but I keep going to the market.
Let's talk about Thanksgiving, both the questions that everyone wrote in and also just generally what we're doing this
And
year.
what we're thankful for.
What we're thankful for, all that. You first.
All right. Well, I think I'm thankful for my family, first of all. I'm thankful for our good health. And I'm thankful that well, I'm sort of sad that now my whole family isn't actually with me to share Thanksgiving. That's one of the regrets I have in coming down to Florida. I
didn't know that was even I know it's important to you, but like that you cared about that, because
I do care about it.
Then why didn't you make why didn't you tell everybody to come?
Because their schedules are not as flexible as mine, and either I had to stay in New York and Poppy didn't want to do that because it's hard for school children to get out of school and to make the trip down here. It's not like you're getting in a car and you're going an hour away. So that's sad. And also my grandson is far away, and that also is sad. I would have rather been with him, actually. Where he's going. He's going to the Canary. He's going to the Canary Islands. I'd like to do that. It sounds very cool. But, this is part of what's happening with a nuclear family. Everybody does their own thing, and there's nothing we really can do about that. There used to be a time where all families all were together for every holiday. It didn't matter. I mean, you basically lived in the same area. You did the same kind of things. You didn't travel as much. So those are some of the things I remember as a child.
Yeah, that's
that
funny.
I do miss. That, I would have all my grandparents and the cousins and the aunts and uncles would all share in all these festivities, and that somehow just doesn't happen anymore, and I regret that. But anyway, the ones who are here and with us will have a good time. We'll have a turkey. We'll have the fruit. What do you call it?
The fruit stuffing that I
The
like.
fruit stuffing that you like. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of the questions people wrote in were about like what was your first Thanksgiving memory and like your favorite holiday memory or hosting throughout the years and why. And I feel like that kind of answered it.
Yeah, I think it was a time when my mother used to make all her special dishes, and she would have a wonderful. My mother was a terrific cook, and she would have her special marble cakes out and her Jello molds with the marshmallows inside. Those are things that nobody even eats anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't even think I've ever seen a marble cake in the last.
What's a marble cake?
It's half vanilla and half chocolate, and they swirl it. I don't know how my mother used to do it, but it was really one of the happiest things I really can remember the smell that when I came home from school and she had a cake in the oven. It's a fond memory, and I still think about it. I really do.
Interesting. It's funny how like sensory memories can be.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
Absolutely. For good and for bad. That was a good memory.
Yeah, true.
I remember her making liver, and I used to hate having dinner home that night. I would like to go to a friend's house. I think it was every Monday night we had to have liver.
Yeah.
And it wasn't chicken liver, it was regular liver, and I detested it. But whatever.
I don't know my like favorite holiday memory, but I think if I try to think of like my first, I definitely remember watching like the Macy's Day Parade on TV.
Oh, sure. That was always a fun thing. I used to come, when I was a little girl, I used to come in from the suburbs, and I used to go to my grandmother's house, and she had a place overlooking the park.
Oh, that's
and we
lucky.
and we used to go look on Central Park West.
Most of us watch on television.
I know, but we did. Well, this was we're talking about in the early 50s.
Yeah.
So, and that was a big day. That was a big outing for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, now that I think about it.
So let's go through some more of these questions about the holidays. People wanted, our advice about. Okay, someone wrote, just married and hosting both of our families for Thanksgiving. Any hostess advice?
Well, I think my advice is to take a deep breath, because it's going to be stressful. And make sure that you find out if anybody has any food allergies. That is becoming a big issue today. So before you go to all the effort and the shopping, make sure you check with the other family, or your husband's family or your wife's family, if they have anything they can eat. And then sort of try to make it simple for yourself. Do one main course, whether it be chicken or turkey or ham or whatever you want to make. Just have one. And then make a lot of different sides that people can sort of dig into. You can have string bean casserole. You could have potatoes, either with marshmallows or just mashed potatoes, and people sort of like that. And then I think an addition to Thanksgiving would be some kind of cornbread, which I think is so delicious. And it's sort of this time of the year. It's still looks pretty on the table. It adds a little yellow color. And also I would put on the table, make the table festive. Put pumpkins on the table. Do some different height candles, so that it sort of looks like you really put an effort in. You don't have to spend a lot of money. If you don't want to do floral arrangements, which are costly, and sometimes you can't see over them anyway to look across the table, you can always put little things along the center of the table that sort of remind you of the holiday. Just make it fun and don't worry too much. And then I would do a store-bought cake for dessert and not think about making it. I mean, unless you're a terrific baker. If you are, then go for it. But everybody makes pumpkin pies. Everybody makes pecan pies, and you get a pint of ice cream, and that's the best dessert. And perhaps even some little chocolate brownies from the store. Just try to make it easy for yourself and set everything up. If you're having a big group, which I don't know how many you're having, I would almost set it up as a buffet and let everybody help themselves. It's just so much easier than having to serve it around and picking the dishes up and passing them around. This way, everybody can get up and take a little bit of something.
I don't know why I assumed everybody did family style. But I guess maybe not.
Well, I think you can do family style if it's 8 people around a table. But if you've got now maybe 14 or 16,
right,
you start passing the plates all the way around, and the little kids can't pass the plates if there are any younger siblings in the mix. So make it easy. Whatever is easier for you. Even now so often people have open kitchens, and I think there's nothing more wonderful and sort of warm for the holidays. Put it on your kitchen island and let everybody go and sort of pick what they like, and then they can take as much or as little, and it works.
Okay, what are some not so expensive hostess gift ideas other than alcohol to bring?
Well, I think cookies. any kind of little desserts, or even what I like, because I happen to like it, is sometimes you get a package in the in different stores with nuts and apricots and dates, and people like to nibble on it after dinner, and if you're sitting around talking, and it also looks pretty if you put it on the table. So I don't think you have to spend a lot of money for a gift. It's just a little thank you. If you're going to a more formal kind of holiday dinner, and you don't really want to give a food a perishable, sometimes just a nice book is always appropriate. People like it, whether it be a cookbook, a style book, or a thoughtful a new book that's just come out. I mean, I just think that's a great hostess gift.
Mm-hmm. What if you don't like the person who you sit next to at dinner?
Well, if it's family, you have to just close your mouth and just be as nice as you can. You know what? This is the holiday time. This is not supposed to be a date. You have to try to be as flexible as you can, and try to be nice. You know, it's a time for forgiving. It's a time for charity, and it's a time to be grateful and not to be petty and go back on old hurts and dislikes. So try to rise above it.
Yeah, or maybe like limit the combo and talk to the person on your other side.
Well, that's a little rude.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if people pick up on that stuff.
I don't know. I think most small family gatherings, there's always a little bit of an issue, but you know what? You overlook it. It's still family.
Mm-hmm. We did answer, some of this on Instagram, but like, what about outfit ideas for what to wear to Thanksgiving?
Well, I do think that people should dress up a little. I don't think it should be the normal sweatpants that you're walking around in or that you might be preparing the meal in. I think it's nice if you want to put on a little dress, it's fine, or a nice pair of pants and a sweater or a shirt. I think whatever, just up it a little. It doesn't have to be an extravaganza because, everybody is sort of casual now, especially if it's at home. I think you find out from the hostess how she wants everybody to come. If she says, "Oh no, please dress up," then put on your finery and go the little extra mile. If she says, "No, just casual," I would be casual but not super casual.
Yeah. This is a question like I would write. When can you leave the party?
Well, I think after dessert. You can't leave before.
Yeah.
And I sometimes think if it's a family gathering, you have to sit around a little bit and talk. But it's always difficult who the first one to leave is. And in every family, there's always one that gets up first, and then you can go afterwards.
Yeah.
I think that...
I feel like with us, I'm always like the last to leave when you host.
Well, I think, sometimes, unless it's a very late night, usually family occasions
over by like
are
8.
over by 8:30. So where's the rush?
Right.
Even 8 o'clock. I mean, that's a late night. So I think, sit around, maybe catch up with one of the relatives that you haven't seen in a while, or just update what you've been doing. It makes people feel that there was a reason for coming.
Yeah. Stuffing in the bird or out?
No, definitely out. It's not supposed to be put in. I think it's actually not healthy to put the stuffing in.
What do you mean healthy?
I think
you mean
that
like
was
the raw.
I think there was a thing a few years back that said that the juices from the turkey made it unhealthy to put the stuffing in. So I think the stuffing is on the stove, and then you just add it. You can at the last minute you can either put it inside the turkey before it comes to the table, or in a separate dish. I don't think you're supposed to cook the stuffing in a turkey, but you can check that out, everybody. I'm not a professor, but I do remember there was a controversy about that.
Do we have a holiday tradition?
About Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
No. It's just, I think Thanksgiving is a very American holiday. All nationalities, all ethnic groups, all it's part of Americana. It is what it is. I don't think it's a terribly grave holiday that anybody has to worry about. It's a day, really, that everybody is supposed to sit around the table and really say what they're thankful for. And I think everybody living in our wonderful country has something to be thankful for. The saddest case could even be sadder. So I think each person gives whatever they think is really their blessing. Mm-hmm. And I think it's well worth remembering. It is a day of gratitude.
Yeah. Speaking of seat arrangements, do you do them personally? And if so, like, how do you plan them?
Well, seating arrangements work if you're not in a family group. In other words, if you've got people who are coming that are new to the group, to the holiday dinner, then I would definitely have a seating plan, because they can't stand around and say, "Oh, where am I going to sit? Where am I going to sit?" It's actually quite it's uncomfortable. But if it's a family one, you just say sit wherever you want. It doesn't really matter. I mean, usually it tends to mothers and fathers sit together, and the kids sort of sit next to their parents or next to their cousins that who they haven't seen in a while. I don't think that really matters. It really becomes, the seating arrangement really becomes important when you have people who are not relatives and who are coming in cold. And then I think it's appropriate to put place cards down for everybody.
Yeah. I feel like with the family, you definitely don't do the place cards, but you always kind of like encourage. You're like, "Oh, Kim, why don't you sit there next to X?"
Well, they would, because it's fun also to sometimes do conversations with cousins or aunts or whatever. And I think that's a nice thing. That's really what the whole holiday is supposed to be about. So an exchange of ideas and an exchange of gratitude. So I think any way you can do that is a plus.
Okay. Question: wine glasses on a set table. Use them for pre-dinner drink?
Well, I don't think that works. I think if you're going to have wine or cocktails before, wherever you're setting up your bar, whether it be in wherever, in the kitchen or in your den or wherever, I think you have to have specific wine glasses out there or soda glasses out in that area with your beverages. And then they stay there. And then you have to put fresh glasses on the dinner table, because usually you're going to serve either a cider or a wine, and it doesn't necessarily go with the wine, with whatever you were drinking during your hors d'oeuvre time or cocktail time.
Yeah.
And a lot of times during Thanksgiving, nobody, really there is no cocktail time. They just come right to the table. It depends how you're doing it and how casual you're doing it. If you're doing an hors d'oeuvre time, then you really have to have a separate drink area.
Yeah. What do you think of holiday internet cards versus snail mail?
Again,
versus regular mail?
Well, I know that everybody does things now so cutely over the phone and with those little cute little emojis and all that. I still think it's very nice to have a holiday card. I don't do it because I really have never done it, I guess, and I just... everyone I know that I see, I wish a happy holiday to. I think that's a personal preference. I think young people today don't send cards. I've tried to buy certain kind of cards in a card store, which no longer exist, but I go to the market sometimes and they have cards in a rack or in the drugstores, and they're getting less and less. So I guess the popularity of a card through the mail is not as much.
If someone invited me to a party in the mail, I wouldn't show up because I wouldn't have checked my mailbox.
Well, that's very millennial. We still go to our mailbox every day, and we get our mail delivered. So, and I still like it, but you get less and less. I would say almost 80% of the invitations sent to me are actually on a text message or an email. So you're absolutely right. It's an industry that is sort of petering out.
Except for like weddings or bar mitzvahs.
But I don't know. Maybe some of those are going over.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
Invited to either.
I haven't been to a wedding or a bar mitzvah. No, I have been to a wedding, and that was a beautiful invitation. Yeah. You're right. But I haven't been to the other in a long time. But eventually...
I don't have everyone's I know's address.
Well, that's because we basically don't write letters anymore, which is so sad.
Yeah, so I'd have to text everyone I would want to invite and say, what's your address so I can send you mail?
Yes, I think probably correct.
It's kind of weird. I like this question. Advice for bonding with new boyfriend's family over the holidays. First time meeting on a week-long vacay.
On a week-long vacation?
Yep.
Well, I think that takes a little stamina. I think the first meeting together should be cordial and, introduce yourself and or your boyfriend or girlfriend, whoever's doing the introducing, has to introduce you to the family, and then hopefully, all the pleasantries will follow. You have to talk about your where you went to school, where your job is, where you live now. I mean, all the little nonsense conversation that builds up into the week.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, as the week goes on, you develop some bonding, whether it be over just taking a walk together or sitting around a table together, eating food, or playing a game after dinner. And and if it's a good thing and everybody gets along, it'll be a good week. If it's not, it's a strain on the relationship. And there's nothing you can do about it. Certain personalities go together very quickly, and others have to be developed.
Yeah. And I think positivity goes a long way, because that's something that like people pick up on that energy right away. So like, I feel like in my own experience, I'm just like, this is amazing. This food is great. You made your house is so pretty. The table's so good. Like, you just have to kind of kill them with kindness.
Well, I think that's the right thing anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a guest or if you're going with somebody, you have to be in a positive mode.
People love to be complimented.
Right. And nobody wants to be around negativity, especially during the holidays.
Yeah. What do you do with guests who have had a little too much to drink?
Well, that is an issue. I'm not big on drinking, so I don't know. I think if you see it happening, I think you have to go over to them and say, maybe that should be all you have tonight. It seems like you're getting a little too tipsy, or go to their if they're married, to their partner and say, you know what, I think they're getting a little bit out of hand now. Maybe you should take them upstairs or go take a walk outside, depending on what time of the day it is, what time of the evening it is. I don't know. I think at some point people have to stop drinking till they're sick. So I don't surround myself with people who drink too much, because I'm uncomfortable with it. But if you're in a room and you find that someone is not able to control them, first of all, they usually say something that's inappropriate or do something that's inappropriate. So I think if you can sort of tap them on the shoulder and say, maybe you should just go outside and take a little walk, that might be a good idea.
Oh yeah, that one's so hard, because everyone like would respond differently to like, why don't you go outside and take a little walk? But I think maybe just, you don't want to punish your other guests by like just taking all the alcohol away. So it's a hard one. And
It is a hard one. It would be best off if they have a friend or somebody alongside them that says, you know what, let's step outside for a bit.
Or just hand them a glass of water.
No, well, I don't know.
We were just talking about cocktail hour, like depending how people serve their hors d'oeuvres and stuff. How long do you think that appetizer cocktail?
No more. For me, no more than 40 minutes. There is a 40-minute rule. Over 40 minutes, it's over. The whole evening becomes over. I mean, if you're having a cocktail time, really enough is enough. For me, would be a half hour, would be perfect. But I know that not everybody arrives at the same time. So I give them 45 minutes at tops, and then we go in for dinner.
Yeah, I feel that even less, like with family, I feel like even less than 45 minutes. With friends, I would say like an hour plus.
Well, if the people enjoy drinking, then I guess it does. But to me, once it's over 45 minutes, you're drinking too much. You're not going to enjoy the meal.
How do you balance the holidays between you and your partner's families?
Well, I guess we were very lucky because I got along with my in-laws and my parents, and we all lived in a similar area, and we all celebrated the holidays together. So we balanced it because that was what it was. I think if you have family, that are out of town and you have to share locations, then you have to go 1 year to one family and 1 year to another family, unless one of the families wants to travel. I think it's important to say that you're sharing. I think sharing occasions is a good thing if you're not fortunate enough to all be in the same community and get along.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot more questions surrounding the holidays, like Christmas, Hanukkah, what to wear, hosting gifts, and I think maybe we'll save that for an episode closer to those holidays.
I think that's a great idea, Kim.
Okay, so for those who didn't get their questions answered, don't worry, we'll get to it. Thank you guys for listening. Another great episode of Excuse My Grandma.
And enjoy your holiday with whoever you're with, and just remember that love conquers all, and just give everybody a special kiss for the holiday.
Yes. And I am thankful also for my family, for how lucky we are with so many things in our lives, and
let there be
my
peace on earth.
imagination. Love my imagination.
That's very good. And peace on earth.
Peace
for
on
all.
earth. Yes. So you guys know how to follow us. Excuse My Grandma on Instagram, TikTok. Rate us 5 stars wherever you're listening. See you next week.
Okay, bye.